I thought the WNBA was being elevated by these big stars.
1 million less fans. Nobody showed up to watch this game.
Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. How Angel Reese and A'ja Wilson are leading the WNBA's growth.
Angel Reese, the name that once had fans screaming and timelines buzzing, is now facing a harsh spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Her preseason WNBA debut was supposed to be a moment, but what actually happened? Empty seats, disappointing stats, and TV ratings that flatlined.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd.
Despite all the hype, no one showed up, and barely anyone tuned in. What went wrong? Is Angel Reese already losing her shine? In this video, we break down the brutal truth behind the headlines, and the cold, hard numbers don't lie. Let's get into it.
This situation is not the same, and it's going to keep getting called out.
To understand why Angel Reese's poor ratings are such a shock, you first have to understand how big her rise was and how fast it happened.
5 million Instagram followers do not equate to basketball fans. It's a totally different group of people.
Angel Reese didn't just play college basketball. She owned the spotlight. At LSU, she brought a fire to the court that fans either loved or loved to hate. Her bold personality, unapologetic confidence, and fearless trash talk made her a standout in every game she played.
According to Forbes, Angel Reese is arguably the biggest star in the WNBA because she has more social media followers than everyone else.
But it was more than just attitude. She had the game to back it up. She averaged a double-double, helped lead LSU to a national championship, and quickly became one of the most talked-about athletes in women's sports.
I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month.
But her influence wasn't limited to the court. Reese became a media magnet, interviews, commercials, magazine covers. She was everywhere. Her social media following exploded, with millions of fans drawn in by her charisma, her fashion, and her bold presence.
1 million less fans tuned in. This also proves a bigger issue. WNBA still got a lot of problems. If Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are not involved, they still got a ton of problems.
People called her the Bayou Barbie, a nickname that turned into a brand. She signed major NIL deals with companies like Reebok and Coach, cementing her status as a crossover celebrity. By the time the WNBA draft rolled around, Angel Reese was already being promoted as one of the league's next major stars.
ESPN went 5, maybe even 6 consecutive weeks during the regular season without broadcasting a WNBA game. ESPN doesn't want the Phoenix Masculines versus the LA Sparkles, but any game involving Caitlin Clark, even if it's a scrimmage against a local YMCA team like the Atlanta Dreamers, ESPN, they want to broadcast it. ESPN featured Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Felines against the best AAU team from Brazil.
ESPN hyped her up. Forbes ran headlines calling her one of the faces of the WNBA's future, and many fans believed it. They thought her fame would naturally translate to sold-out arenas and high TV ratings.
By the way, this arena holds roughly 10,000 fans, okay? It was at the Wintrust. 4,688 fans showed up to a game that Angel Reese is playing in.
Everything pointed toward Reese being a sure thing, a lock to bring the excitement and energy she had in college into the pros. But as we're about to see, things didn't exactly go that way. But when the bright lights of the WNBA finally turned on, the numbers told a very different story.
Yeah, the problem is there's only one player in this league that people actually care about, Caitlin Clark. And the proof was once again in the ratings. Headline at Sports Media Watch: Caitlin Clark attracts over 1 million viewers for WNBA preseason game.
Angel Reese made her preseason debut with the Chicago Sky, and all eyes were expected to be on her. But guess what? Hardly anyone tuned in.
4,688 fans showed up to a game that Angel Reese is playing in.
Let's start with the in-person turnout. The game was held at Wintrust Arena, which holds about 10,000 fans. Sounds like the perfect stage for a rising star, right? Wrong. Only 4,688 people showed up. Not even half capacity. And this wasn't just any game. The Sky were playing against the Minnesota Lynx, one of the top teams in the league. Even that matchup wasn't enough to bring people to the seats.
Ouch. Chicago Sky with their second straight home game where the arena is not even half full. It was a great game. HVL did great. Come on, Chicago. Some tickets were only $3.
Her preseason game against the Brazil national team drew a dismal 305,000 viewers. And this was on ION, a free over-the-air channel that doesn't require cable, a subscription, or even internet.
ION is available for free on the Roku app. Free. It's one of their live channels. Nobody watched that game between the Sky at LSU for Angel Reese's homecoming.
Compare that to Caitlin Clark's debut, which pulled over 1.3 million viewers. That's not a small gap. That's a chasm. And remember, this was supposed to be Angel Reese's homecoming, a highly anticipated game. Yet people just didn't care enough to show up or watch. The media narrative told us she was one of the biggest draws in women's basketball, but the fans didn't respond. Even worse, some tickets for that game were going for as low as $3.
Come on, Chicago. Some tickets were only $3.
And still, the seats were empty. When a so-called superstar can't fill an arena or pull solid numbers on a free TV platform, that's not just a fluke. That's a problem.
1 million less fans tuned in for that game versus the Fever against the Brazilian national team.
As soon as the disappointing numbers hit the internet, the backlash was immediate. Fans, critics, and sports analysts began calling out what many had suspected, that Angel Reese's popularity might be more social media than basketball reality. Despite having over 5 million followers across platforms, it became clear that followers don't equal fans.
The Roo from Waterloo drew 1.3 million viewers, which was a 13% increase over the WNBA's regular season average on ESPN last year. Viewership also exceeded ratings for Game 1 of the WNBA Finals.
The stands were empty, the ratings were low, and the excuse train was running out of track. Some tried to defend her by saying it's just preseason, or that Caitlin Clark had more media support, but the numbers weren't lying.
But how in the hell is a meaningless preseason game outdrawing a less meaningless game in the WNBA Finals? To make matters worse for their pretend friends in the mainstream media, Caitlin Clark dominated her competition this past weekend. If you can call Angel Reese, AJ Wilson, and Paige Becker's competition. If you combine the flies they drew to their turds last weekend, you would have one fly with broken wings.
Caitlin Clark filled arenas in preseason. Angel Reese didn't. Then came the tweets. One post after another, people started asking, is Angel Reese overrated? Has the media been force-feeding us a narrative that fans simply aren't buying? Some users mocked her Met Gala appearance, questioning her priorities. Others pointed to her on-court performance, 9 points, 4 for 9 shooting, and a negative plus-minus, and asked, where's the superstar impact?
Angel Reese chose to have a birthday bash. Throwing yourself a party isn't work. Angel Reese shot 4 for 9 from the field for 44%, just 9 points. Was a -6 for the game. The only Sky starter with a negative plus-minus in the game.
Even her own tweet after the game, now I can tweet, I made it through. God did. 'Cause woo, I'm tired. Raised eyebrows. Tired after a preseason game? That comment added fuel to the fire. Critics jumped on it, suggesting that the fame, the fashion, and the spotlight might be distracting from the one thing that actually matters: production on the court. And the media, They've been pushing Angel Reese and Paige Buchers as the next faces of the WNBA.
Angel Reese should be able to maintain the 400,000 viewers that Paige Buchers delivered. Angel Reese and the Chicago Bravado, they drew 305,000 viewers. This is your star?
But after 1 million fewer people tuned in to Reese's game compared to Caitlin Clark's, that strategy is looking shaky. Fans don't want forced hype. They want performance, energy, and star power that shows up when it counts.
Like I've been telling you guys over the past few weeks, I think Angel Reese is on the decline. I think her drawing power is descending, and Angel Reese is at serious risk of being overshadowed in the WNBA this season. And I think she knows it.
Right now, Reese is not delivering that. And the more the media tries to push her into the spotlight, the louder the public seems to push back. So, is this the downfall of Angel Reese? Or is this just her wake-up call? Look, no one's saying she doesn't have talent. She clearly does. But in the WNBA, talent isn't enough. You need impact. You need consistency. And most of all, you need to bring fans with you, not just followers. Right now, Caitlin Clark is doing that. Angel Reese? Not yet. But here's the thing. This isn't the end of her story. It's just the beginning. Plenty of great players have stumbled out of the gate. The question is, what will Angel do now? Will she step up, silence the critics, and prove she's more than just social media hype? Or will the spotlight slowly fade away? The choice is hers, and the world is watching. Let me know in the comments. Is Angel Reese just getting started, or is the hype already over? Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on that bell, because we're keeping it real on every story the mainstream won't touch.